Well, obviously a disappointing end to the season once again for the St. Louis Blues, and I'm joined in the studio by Blues Chairman and Governor Tom Stillman this afternoon. We're streaming some video live at stlblues.com. You can also watch at KMOX.com, and there's so many bright lights in here. Tom, welcome. How are you? I guess the question would be, there's got to be a range of emotions right now. Are you angry? Are you frustrated? Are you disappointed? Are you all of those things?
Probably a little bit of all of those things, but mostly disappointed and frustrated. We came into this season with high expectations. We had a great regular season, winning what was, by all accounts, the most difficult division in hockey, and yet it all came to the same end. And so it's a bitter pill to swallow for everybody in the organization. And I know it's that way for our fans. As you know, I'm a fan myself, so I feel that. So I think I have a good handle on probably how a lot of our fans are feeling.
What's your assessment of what went wrong or what could have been done better? Do you have opinions of that?
Yeah, I have some, although I'd probably rather not, make pronouncements and make, draw conclusions the day after while things are so raw. I think, it might be, probably people would love to hear me, point fingers and blame and throw people under the bus. But I for two reasons, I don't think that's a great idea. First, I think we should take a careful, deliberate look at what happened, what we did, what we didn't do. And then figure out how we make sure we don't do that again and that we break through in the playoffs. The other reason is just as a matter of, I guess, leadership. I mean, we have an organization that's going to continue forward, and I'm responsible for making sure that organization gets it right and is successful. I don't think it's helpful to an effort like that if I'm up here and start blaming people and cutting off people's heads on the radio. Ultimately, it's my responsibility. So I'm really the person who ultimately is responsible for how things go and making this franchise successful. So, I'm the person who really accepts the responsibility.
Does the future, fans, and I saw Twitter yesterday, getting a reaction today, I'm sure you've heard the comments probably. One thing they always go to, this happens in all the sports, fire the coach. So can you say anything as far as Ken Hitchcock's future?
Again, I know I'm sure people would love to have a public hanging for not necessarily Hitch, but anybody. I don't think that's productive the day after. Again, I think we should look at this thing deliberately, carefully, see what went wrong, why is this happening, and do it in a rational way rather than an emotional way, a quick way. So we will do that, and we'll do it carefully, and we'll do it promptly, and then we will make what I hope will be the right decisions going forward.
One of the things that I heard from people, and I talked with Chris Kerber about this last week, is fans reacting, and it's hard. I'm not a professional athlete. It's hard for me to believe that professional athletes who are getting paid a lot of money, who know the urgency of a situation, like a series like this, whether it's the first round or the Stanley Cup Finals, that they're not putting out effort. But I heard from fans, it didn't look like the Blues were putting out effort. The other thing that they say is that this team isn't tough enough. Do you have a response to those particular criticisms?
I don't really think it's a matter of effort. I don't think there's a person on the team that wasn't trying hard and working hard. I think at times the effort, doesn't necessarily get channeled in the correct way because of the circumstances, whether it's the other team playing well or the pressure, the tension, the circumstances. But I think sometimes games look like that, and it looks like people they're not working or they're lazy. That's generally, particularly in the playoffs, that's because generally other things are happening, not because people don't care or there's a lack of effort. I can, I will accept that, we didn't play the way we should have by any means, but I don't think there's a person on the team that didn't try hard.
So it's a very emotional time for you. I think you're drained. I'm sure the players are too. But what's your? I appreciate you coming in here today, and I'm sure that the fans do as well. You obviously wanted to communicate a message. What is your message for those frustrated fans of the St. Louis Blues who now, for a third year in a row, have seen this team eliminated in the first round?
I think the main thing I want to, I guess, two things. First is that I understand the disappointment. I understand the anger and the frustration. As I said, I'm a fan myself, and I feel all those things. So I think I have a feel for the reaction of our fans and our other supporters. And the second thing I would say is as I said, it's my responsibility to get this right and to figure out what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong and make the right decisions. And, it's my commitment to the fans that we will do that. This is it's a tough time for the franchise. Adversity comes along in sports and in business, or in this case, a combination. And, what matters is how you react to that.
Well, let me ask a question based on that. I asked for some people to chime in on Twitter, and I thought this was a good question from a guy named Andrew. He said, as a fan, we can all cope and wait until next year, but as a boss, how do you inspire your organization to change, win, make money?
How do we inspire them to change and win and make money?
Mm-hmm. Well, all those things that you're responsible for, that the franchise is responsible for. Coming off a situation like this again. And, of course, you have to take into consideration the last few years as well.
It's an interesting question because I look at our organization, and I don't think the challenge is inspiring our people. The people in the organization, meaning both the business and the hockey side, they are so committed to this, to one, winning a cup, and two, making this a world-class franchise, that I don't know that there is a huge challenge of trying to inspire them. I think it's more a matter of, picking up the pieces after an emotional loss and providing, answers of which way we're going, direction, and resources to get us there.
What were some of the reactions from the players? Obviously, it hurts. I can't even imagine what the locker room was like afterward, because you're putting effort out. You hope that you can bring the series back to St. Louis and still win it. What did you say to them? What did they say to you?
I did not talk to the team afterwards.
No personal communication?
No, that's really not something you would do in a circumstance like that.
Will it happen? I mean, that's probably more for Doug Armstrong and for Hitch. Is that something that you feel that you will do, though, moving forward?
I don't know. That's one of those fine lines of ownership. You're responsible. You're overseeing. You're making. You're responsible for making sure things go right. But there are some lines where you don't want to step in and become, fill in the blank here of, a few sports owners that we've all observed over the years. So
they're more interesting for those of us in the media.
I know.
I'm not saying you're a boring guy, Tom. Don't get me wrong,
yeah,
but
well, I am though. But that's I think you have to calibrate how you work and how you manage in a way that respects that line while still discharging your responsibilities. And it's a fine line.
But common sense would dictate moving toward next year, there's going to be some changes. There have to be. I'm guessing status quo is probably not acceptable. There have to be some changes.
I'm sure there'll be changes.
Is there a timetable for those changes or not? Is that something you want to sit back and think about? You're welcome to break news this afternoon in any way, shape, or form.
That, like I said, I'm sure we'd love to name names and chop off heads here. As I said, I don't. What I want to do is do this right, not do this quickly because people want to hear. I think what we need to do is do a hard, cold analysis, careful look at what we're doing and what we're not doing, and make decisions based on that rational, non-emotional view of things, not do something that's a quick reaction.
It's tough because, I mean, you're the guy who's in charge of the team, but you know how personally fans of an organization, Cardinals are a great example of that, Blues are a great example of that, how personally we take it as fans, right? You see the involvement, you see people that back the team all year, and it's a punch in the gut. I mean, the whole community yesterday was, you add the Blues lost and what happened with Adam Wainwright, and there's a big cloud over the city right now, right?
Yeah, it's really something that I guess that I've seen more and more in my time with the Blues. It is really amazing how attached people are to their teams. In our case, to the Blues. It's a very emotional tie, which is
It's a good thing.
It's all all good. It's good for all concerned. You know, the fan, the franchise, the city, all those things. You know, so you can't say I want that on the good days and I don't want it on the bad days. You know, this is the other side of it, and I understand it again because I feel the same way. So,
I could ask you questions about goaltending and players, but I don't think I'm going to get answers to that because we've already covered the ground with the head coach and probably the general manager as well. Any last words here before I let you go, though, for the season ticket holders, the fans, the sponsors?
Yeah, I guess mainly I want them to know that we share the disappointment, but our local ownership group and the management and everybody in the organization remains committed to winning a championship here in St. Louis and making the Blues a world-class franchise in the world of professional sports. And this is a tough time, and we're not happy. We're disappointed. We're frustrated. We're angry. But it's not going to change our commitment going forward. We're going to continue to build. We're going to figure out what's wrong here. We're going to fix it, and we're going to continue to move forward to win a championship here in St. Louis.
Tom Stillman, I appreciate you coming in here. I know it's a rough day. It's a rough day for the fans as well. Thank you for making the time for us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me on.